And there we have it. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the huddle. Paul's not here, so I'm going to try to wing his little intro. I'm not going to defer it like Daniel does, but welcome to the huddle. It's your weekly playbook to gain forward progress in your flooring career. We do our best to offer uh, flooring insights and try to keep up with technology, but that doesn't always work. Um, As never, I am joined by nobody today. So this is a first. I am a solo act today. So forgive me if it gets a little boring. I do apologize. We will wait for a couple more people to join the live here um, so that we get some interaction. Because even though I'm decent at keeping a conversation going, even if it is off topic, I would like some questions and maybe some additional insight from some of the audience before we get going. So we'll give it a minute or two. But while we wait, today's episode is going to be about the summer season, right? Like how you manage your workload, how do you prep for your workload, and try to go over a couple of the things that are involved in the summer season. So, um, questions and feedback during this episode would be greatly appreciated since I am the lone wolf today. Of course, we're joined Ashley behind the scenes, but she will never ever get on the live camera unless we accidentally turn her camera on, which we can't do. So hopefully everybody had a good holiday. Um, we actually did something brand new and participated in our local parade, which was a great learning experience, not only for us, but the kids. We had our children tossing out candy to everybody um, until we ran out because they're very giving. They threw handfuls at everybody. And it's like, you guys, you can't do that. We still got a mile and a half left to go. But it's the first time. Live and learn. Bear with me over here while we wait for a couple more people to join. We won't wait too long to get started, though. And I have a feeling that this will be a little bit of a shorter one because it is just me, myself, and I talking to myself because nobody's on yet. Nobody wanted to join last minute either. So thank you for those of you that did have time to text and ask for letting me know if you could or could not make it. Obviously, they could not. Well, I think there's nothing else to do, but we're just going to dive right into it. We're just going to start talking about it. And if you guys have any questions, bring them on. If you guys have any insight, any advice for any other installers, bring it on. Um, the more prepared that one can be for the summer workload, the better you are. So, um, well, let's just start this out by I'm just going to go over a little bit of how we prepare and how effective our willingness to be prepared is, and how it works out. Um, right before the summer workload, and it's been pretty consistent over the last few years, is you have a little bit of a calm before the storm. The calm before the storm is more or less on the installation side because in the office we are jam packed. We are trying to get everything out. We're trying to win bids, trying to go out and do measures on some negotiated work. We're trying to maintain relationships. Like we're super busy, and whenever there's a lull in the field, happen to make a lot of phone calls and try to get the that window, that slow window, full of work, or at least try to keep the when you have employees, try to keep them semi busy, right? And if we can't do that, then we just do some training. We do some hands on. I think we had some OSHA certifications going on during that, but guess what? The summer workload is here. It's in full force. and just started, and we're already feeling it. We got a lot of items that kind of bottlenecked to the end of May, beginning of June, which is fine. Like we expect it, you know. Like we're you can never be ready for it, but you got to expect it. You have to expect it. And anybody watching on some of the other socials, like I don't have visuals on a lot of the socials that Daniel does. So if you guys are commenting on something else, I might not be able to see it. I just wanted to kind of forewarn you guys on that. Um, so the summer workload is here for us for the most part. I mean, it's just going to start building up. And in order for us to get ready, we kind of get the guys prepped a little bit, start talking about a little bit of the schedule in the meetings, or as we start wrapping up projects, start saying, all right, well, this has been added to our workload. Where are we sitting on these projects for this week? How are we looking on this 1 month long project? How are we looking on this 2 day project? All it takes is falling behind on one or two of them to put you in a bad spot, and sometimes it's not always our fault. Excuse me a second. Let me hang up on office phone. Always rings as soon as we jump on. Every time. Got to remember to turn that off. Um, but as soon as the workload hits, that's when you still go in scramble mode. I don't think you're really ever fully prepared for it. Um, and if you are, then maybe you're fully prepared for the work that you have as a PM or as a salesperson. But um, the company as a whole is probably never fully prepared for it, no matter what they say. Uh, and I'll use today as an example. Got all the vehicles are out on projects. I had planned on picking up material with the trailer and the truck, and no trailer brakes. All right, I'm getting no power to the trailer brakes. That's an audible that I didn't plan for. Not only that is I also had a doctor's appointment. Audible I didn't plan for. Well, I did plan for the doctor's appointment, but I didn't plan on them taking forever. But the trailer brake issue is, we just had it. We just went through all of the trailers. We went the dump trailers, the enclosed trailers, to make sure everything was working. Everything was working tip top. Um, and it just happens to be probably my truck and the wire connection. So had to push off the pickup and try to get it done tomorrow. So what am I going to be doing tonight? Fixing all the wiring for my trailer or for my truck to make sure that I can go pick that up for the crews in the morning, because now the vehicles are scheduled elsewhere. I did not plan on picking or having them pick up material. Crews are spread thin to accommodate multiple starts um, in multiple locations. So just one of those things, part of the summer workload, right? You got to either take it all with a smile, take it on the chin with a smile like that, or you're going to complain about it and make things worse. I choose not to complain about it, I guess, even though I am complaining about it to everyone here, venting. So that's one of the things to look out for. And obviously, if you're independent, you're a subcontractor, I think it's easier for you if you're like just a one crew deal to maintain um, your vehicles and be ready for the workload. I wonder if anyone as an independent gets ready for the summer workload. Do the stores that you're working out, or the flooring contractors that you work with, do they prep you for what's coming up ahead, or are they just kind of hoping that you're able to adjust to whatever they throw at you? I'd like to know a little bit of that. If anybody wants to chime in. Um, Another thing that we try to look out for is burnout. That's a real thing, and then burnout is how many hours are you spending on the floor? How many hours are you spending in the office? How much time are you taking off to give your body some rest? Burnout's a real thing. You can do it in the winter. You can do it in the summer. Mental burnout, um, physical burnout. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to look at that. And I would say summertime brings on like a whole new attitude from people, because in the winter here in Michigan, it snows, and although people really love to go home and like do nothing, but there's nothing to do. There's nothing to do unless you have family events scheduled, unless you have somewhere to go. Um, you want to get out of work early to go home and sit down inside and do nothing. Fortunately for us, we have kids in sports, so I guess there's always something to do when it comes to the sports portion. There's always a practice. There's always a store to go to. Um, but the burnout is real when you don't get to spend time with your family either. So I wonder how everyone is able to keep track of that. I might keep saying I wonder because I want someone to jump in and ask some questions. Um, you know, no need to be shy. You know, what's that old saying? The only dumb question is the one you don't ask. We all know that that's not true, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it right now anyway. Um, Managing subs. How does that goes back to the other question I had too about the summer season with the subs. When when you salesmen are managing the subs, do you really get them ready? Do you talk to them before? Do you ask them how busy do they want to be? Um, are you manipulating labor rates to reflect how busy it is during that time? During the summer workloads, do your rates go up to reflect how busy you are? Right, because time is valuable. Um, how does that work out? Sorry about this phone here. Wish this, someone should just answer it. It ain't gonna be me. Anyway, do your rates go up? Do you do the summer inflation? If you don't want the project, are you jacking up your numbers a little bit? And then if you get it, it's worth your time, or are you just saying no to work? Um, other flooring outfits, I'd like to know like I'd like to learn a little bit more. How do you guys handle employees uh, during summer? Because summer is when everybody wants to take a vacation. We have a couple vacations or a couple, yeah, we have one vacation coming up and miscellaneous days off, and wondering how everybody likes to approach that as far as accommodating requests. Do you require a request, or you just the employees just like, hey, I got to take these days off. I know that employee versus contractor or trade contractor is going to be a little bit different. You, at the end of the day, no one really has control over the subs. They can do whatever they want. They could call in the day up, like, hey, I can't do that job. Doesn't do them any good for any of their relationships, but it is very possible that that could happen. That's happened to us a few times, and it doesn't always leave the best taste in your mouth. And When I was a sub, I mean, we still are, but when we were doing, when 100% of our work was through another flooring contractor, um, I would never do that. They counted on me. I was there. And if something happened to put us behind, I would be honest about it. Look at Mr. Jorge. Let's see what he got on here. Says most of the sales reps now that go on site to measure, I've noticed some are super green. Seems like there is no communication with the installer. Most times I got to put things together myself. Seems like they need more experience. Um, Jorge, you are spot on, brother. There's a lot to be said for that, and they're probably super green because the companies are getting ready for the summer workload. They do bring on a couple more staff as far as sales, and unfortunately, they got to start somewhere if they have no experience in the flooring industry. Um, and a lot of their growth comes through building the relationships with the installers and learning how to work with specific installers. And but also you have the sales um, associates that want to learn the craft as well, right? Like they want to learn how to be better. I know that CFI had hosted a couple programs down at like Ties for some of that, where uh, office staff or sales teams, PM, someone who doesn't have the installation background is was able to get their hands on the product. You know, feel it, touch it, smell it. You know, learn a little bit of what the installers do day in day out. Um, it's kind of hard to do that over the course of 2 or 3 days, but it is something uh, that would definitely help as someone who's green. Um, and also, FCICA's got the SIM program, which ties the installation to the office. Right, it kind of connects those missing links there, ties them together. It creates transparency um, from start to finish of a project. When I say start to finish, from consultation to final install, there's a lot of steps included in that help out. But the communication part, like that, I think that part is it's really on both sides, right? Like it's up to the installer to communicate. Is especially if you don't feel there is a extensive knowledge base there with the sales associate or the salesperson or even the designer. Sometimes the architect, man, it's like it's never ending. But if you're willing to reach out and say, "Hey, I'd like to chat about this," I'm certain that they'll say, "Okay, yeah, let's figure it out." You can ask, as the installer, you can ask, "Hey, why is this going in here? What were you being told? Um, is this what they wanted? Do you understand that this is the wrong material? I noticed that you don't have any transitions on this takeoff." And it can help them build up their system a little bit as well. Um, and then salespeople, ask the installers, ask them why they need specific products, right? Why do you like Ardex? Why do you like working with XYZ manufacturer, adhesive manufacturer? Why do you prefer to work with, XYZ carpet manufacturer? What would you prefer to work with? That would be a really good question. And the stores who have the employees or in the sales staff, be intentional about introducing your sales team with your installers. Some personalities don't gel well, and you're putting a team out there that represents your company. Why wouldn't you do your best to create some sort of synergy between the installers and the sales teams? Is I guess to me that's a no brainer, but it's because of the experience, right? I was the new guy. I was the new installer. I was the seasoned installer. I was the new office guy. I was the gentleman that had to go out and find um, other installers for disciplines that we don't do in house or that we didn't do at the time in house. So knowing what I didn't like through past relationships really helped us build what we do like, and it does open up the door for conversation. Um, Even though I'm really really bad at keeping up with relationships like that, and I think everybody is to some point, but you don't call on an installer until they're needed, right? So everything's kind of out of sight, out of mind. Um, that sounds bad, but that's life in general. Um, Unless someone's just so much part of your everyday that, like, I gotta call my homie. Haven't talked to him today. Um, and some relationships are like that between installers and sales teams and flooring contractors and flooring stores. Um, Cherish all that for sure. Let me get a drink of my coffee here because it's cold in the office. Um, what else you guys got out there? Getting ready for the summer workload. Like Jorge, do you how do you maintain some of your equipment that you use for all of the surging and all that? Do you go through any of that at some point and make sure that everything is in working order? I know when you use it every day, it's a little bit different because as you use it, you can maintain it. You can see what's needs to be replaced. But what about other equipment that's sitting idle in your garage, a storage unit, a warehouse? Does does everybody out there go through their equipment, make sure everything's working before the summer or before a big job hits? And it doesn't have to be the summer workload. Like sometimes you just have a large project that you need to be prepared for with a lot of moving parts, and making sure that you're set up for all those moving parts is huge. Um, and like Daniel says all the time, we're primarily commercial, so for us, we got to go through our equipment a lot. I mean, we have equipment in the warehouse right now that needs to be repaired or replaced. Um, and if I can't get to it, we got to find someone who can. Uh, and sometimes it's one of those hard pills to swallow where it's going to be more beneficial for me to pay somebody to fix it than it is for me to spend the time fixing it, since time is very slim, um, for me anyway. But I like taking stuff apart and fixing it and getting it ready. I like doing all that until I break it because I'm mad because I can't figure it out. That does happen. I'll be honest. Let's see what else is there when you're summer workload. How about balance, right? Like balancing quality versus speed. At what point is the actually at no point really should speed supersede quality. I'll be honest. Now, if you have enough experience and you're getting to a point where you can be proficient, the speed will be there, right? Because now you don't have to go back. Um, Sometimes you have clients that just want you to hurry, hurry, hurry. Uh, I like a challenge, but not at my expense, right? I don't mind being challenged, but I don't want it to be at our expense. Make sure you have some items in place to protect yourself, especially if that were to happen, or you're going out of order on a large project as far as the layout and maybe the sequence. Maybe you're in there before they have the windows in. Um, Mr. Jorge. I use my surging machine maybe once a week. Since the machines are industrial, they need a little maintenance. The key is leveling all the carpets so the parts don't bend under force. So, you know what? I like that. So, part of maintenance is making sure that you're using the machines and the equipment properly. And he's absolutely right. And that goes for your tools as well. Misuse will cause your tools to wear prematurely. They will break. Yes, Mr. Benjamin, solo. Yes, Mr. Rowland, by myself today. Daniel was like, you know what? I'm just not going to go on there today because I really, really want my brother's microphone to work really well. So that's why he's not here today. Actually, no, his son had a baseball game that got moved and overlapped, and he's doing the recording, I believe. So, and I believe this is the first week of districts for varsity. So, yeah, I mean, it's pretty important. This is freshman year. He's pitching for varsity, so I want to say it's kind of a big deal. But it's kind of a big deal. So he's got to make a big deal about it. Support his family, his son, and that falls under the avoid burnout, right? That's that mental burnout where you feel like you're letting people down. You don't ever want to do that. Feel that way anyway. You will let people down. But back to what Jorge had put about the maintenance. It it does sound like using equipment properly can only benefit you in the long run. And I will actually confirm that because we have grinders, walk behind grinders. We have a lot of equipment that if it's not used properly, it will break. You will break parts. You will break attachments. And some of these parts and attachments are not an overnight thing, and they're not a typical item that breaks on some of the equipment. But when it does, oh yeah, you're put yourself in a bad situation. As a matter of fact, we're helping out another another local company. One of their ride-on machines had went down, and they have a battery charger that was the wrong one, and they're in the middle of a big demo. Um, so they actually have one of my machines right now, which I don't typically let go out, but um, this company, Mister Ken Walsh, gives us work as well, and he helps fill my schedule sometimes when we're at a crawl for work in the field. So he helps me, I help him, right? Um, and that could come in handy during your summer workload, just so you know. Um, how does everyone invest in their team, invest in themselves for the summer workload? Are you giving them, obviously employees are different than subcontractors, right? So let's go to the employee side. Um, do we do everything right here? Probably not. We do our very best to help out. We're just a smaller outfit, so it's a little bit harder to just like throw money at everything. It's like, here you guys go, awesome, good you go. Get ready because the next 3 months you're gonna hate your life because we got so much work. No, it's trying to create balance and trying to make sure that not only do they have the right equipment, right, but they have the right tools. If things are broken, we need to know. If the things need to get replaced, we need to know. We got the refrigerator stocked with refreshments for them to grab in the morning or in the evening when they get out of work. Um, we try to do our best to accommodate everyone without favoring a person or two. Everything's should it seems to be pretty equal, and if it's not, man, they got to tell us, right? Um, so investing into the team essentially is investing into the company with the equipment and the let's just call them like the party favors, and I'm talking about like energy drinks and snacks and candy and like whatever can help someone's day get a little bit brighter if they have something to go to. Um, the ramen that we have in the cabinet, though, that's for us in the office because we like to be fat sometimes. Does everybody know what to look for burnout, for red flags, with the crews, with the subcontractors? Um, do you care? Right? Is it something that is this ever a conversation between anyone and their subs? No, probably should be. Do I have it? No, but they come in. We have a couple guys that they come in and they chat for a while. They'll come in on their days off, get ready for the work week, and we'll chat it up a little bit. But I'm in here almost 7 days a week. I'm in here 7 days a week. Not always for very long, but this is my home away from home, and sometimes it's to meet someone picking up material for a project starting on a Monday, just so they have what they need, and we'll chat it up. We'll catch up a little bit, and I think that helps with some of the mental game, right? The mindset. Talk about oh, guess what happened last week? You know, so and so did this and did that, and talk through it. Their conversations help give us insight um, on what to look for with not only with their projects that we're giving them, but future projects, right? That if it's a residential project and they hit a scenario that I've never seen before, I love to talk about it because I want to learn about it so I can be better. Um, if we can prevent, I'd rather prevent any issues and solve any problems before they pop up than to react. That's for sure. So I'm just looking here for some other talking points here. I ain't got nobody to bounce them off of. Mouth is getting dry. Talking a lot. I already got a dusty voice. It's unique, I guess. Everybody knows who it is. I can't prank call anyone, that's for sure. Um, when you guys have when everybody has a summer workload that hits, uh, do you say no to projects or do you still try to take everything on? Um, like I'm not only asking for the audience, I'm asking for me. Um, do you say no to a project because it's not lucrative? There's not enough money in it, or do you say no to a project because it's too large? Um, even though it's something you know you can handle, right? But you're just not sure where your schedule is going to fall. Um, I guess that's where I'm going with that. Like, in the winter months, I'll put an example. In the winter months, when we say a residential project falls in our lap, it's 150 yards up and down. And do I treat that the same in the winter as I do in the summer? Um, I'm asking myself questions, and I'm going to answer my own questions here, you guys. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I treat it the same as in the client approach. But as far as plugging the project in, it's definitely got to be more strategic for me in the summer months than it does in the winter months. And I only say that because of the schedules. Like it's harder to plug in a 1 or 2 day project when you've already have your next 9 weeks scheduled out, right? You already have your next 12 weeks scheduled out. But then there's also the variables in those 12 weeks. Where are we going to fall behind if we get ahead? So I try to get ahead on some of the easier projects in order to fit some of the other ones in like that. Hopefully that makes sense. So Mr. Rowland here said, your mind needs that 1 day to rest. It does. It does need that 1 day to rest. It probably needs more than 1 day. And Rowland, I'm just gonna. I feel like you're attacking me right now, brother, because you said because I told you I work 7 days a week. I think most business owners work 7 days a week. I don't work 7 days a week in that aspect where I'm 100% focused on getting bids out, looking at like, no. Sometimes my work is to come in here and do some reading, watch a video, learn how to use some of the software, and like that's still some of my work. So I don't always come in here and try to one up anybody. I come here to try to be a better version of myself. And unfortunately, there's a lot of distractions at home with kiddos and dogs, so it's hard to stay focused there. So I do come to the office for the peace and the quiet. Um, it's just way easier that way. Mr. Horhead, I'm assuming that says I say no to a job because it's not been scheduled within a certain time frame. So I think that goes right off what I was saying is I would rather say no to a project and maybe pass them a couple references before I say yes to a project and really put them in a bad spot or put myself in a bad spot or the crew's in a bad spot. It's nothing worse than setting yourself up for failure. Hold on 1 second. I think somebody was here. I don't know who it is. I'm a little scared. No, it's probably just my son. No, no. Anyway, back on track here. Sorry. I'm used to having other people to take over while I take care of a couple things here. Um, what else is going on for the summer workload for people? Do you, and I'm asking some questions too because I really want to learn like how the outlook is for some companies. Like Rollin, you have a full service flooring. You're a full service flooring contractor. Um, I don't necessarily know what your sales team looks like, but like how much of the like for 2025 for the summer of 2025 did you start preparing in 2024? Do you have uh any locations or any websites or any people connections that you kind of lean on for the economic forecast to prep for any of that? Do you have anybody that shoots you information through a pipeline that says, "Hey, so and so company is bidding on $200 million worth of work for 2025. We expect to win 50% of that." I don't know if anybody does that for you. Um, we do a lot of networking, so we get a lot of information um, through our social capital as far as where the forecast is going to be, what we have to look forward to as far as our local economy versus um, the U.S. and it's always looking good, man. There's always seems to be a lot of people investing here in Michigan and in Grand Rapids, and a lot of philanthropy going on as far as them, wanting to invest in properties and have some growth, right? Like they're trying to build more places for more people to live to increase the census around here, right? You increase the census, you got to increase the work, you increase the work, and then that increases spending. People get comfortable, spend a little more. The more people that are coming here to invest, the more commercial and industrial properties that are going up or getting renovated. That's the kind of things that we try to follow to try to help us get ready for a summer workload. Does it dictate how busy we are? No, I don't. No, because we'll do our best to be as busy as possible. Um, but it does help us when we find out, that they're investing $100 million in the medical industry, right? Like, okay, the medical industry, what are they doing? Are they adding on? Are they renovating? Is it equipment? Is it staff? So we try to find that out so we know um, what what portion is going to be busy or potentially be busy. It does help a little bit, but you still got to pick and choose the battles. You got to There's only a handful of contractors that you're going to work with. Um, got to try to find your people, right? 35 years, I work 7 days a week. My mind is a better place with that day of rest. I believe you. And I don't know if you guys notice behind me here, but over my right shoulder, I've always had these gloves, right? Like these are my gloves that don't need any work. Some of them have been used, some of them have not. Um, I do find myself taking care of a lot of gloves this summer. Um, I do it because I like it and it gives me peace. It brings me balance and it does distract me from everything. I like to tear them apart, relace them, recondition them, try to do, try to find those little hobbies like that can help reset, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. I do have a hard time sleeping though. I'm not one of those 8 hour a night sleepers. I try to be, and it doesn't always work out for me. Plus, I'm getting old. I got to wake up and go pee in the middle of the night. That um Then it's hard to go back to sleep. The dogs want to hang out. They think you're up for the day. It's annoying. Mr. Brendan Collins. Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. We do our best. Sometimes it doesn't seem like we do our best, man, but we're always trying to do our best over here, and I'm sure most people are always trying to do their best. And the ones that work hard at their craft, whatever they're doing, whether it's summer, winter, fall, um, people know when you're not putting forth full effort. People know when you're putting forth a lot, and as an outsider looking in on someone else, you always tend to see the burnout before they feel the burnout, right? So if you guys got coworkers, brothers, sisters, employees, contractors, and you guys notice something um, out of the ordinary, hey, feel free to say something. It never really hurts anyone to say, hey, man, you doing all right? Are you sure? Some people will be like, yeah, dude, I'm doing fine. Why? Why you say that? Oh, is my nose hair getting too long or something? You think I'm letting myself go? Carlos agreeing there to Mr. Rowland. See what Mr. Rollins got to say to this right here. I've been doing this long enough to be ready for any slow or slam time. I keep an eye out on trends. I also don't have all my eggs in one basket. That's pretty smart. If one thing slows down, I can then pick up on other things. And that's a gift there, Rowland. That's a gift that you have there for that. And I'll say that it's hard to it's hard to keep all your eggs in one basket because how many times are you gonna drop that basket or let that basket empty out before you realize that it's better to be safe, get a nice rotation going on, have something on the back burner at all times. But it all depends on what type of person you are, how busy you want to be. Well, everyone, I definitely do have to cut this short. I got to get my son over to baseball practice. Um, and usually Daniel's here to take care of some things while I get my phone calls and my text messages out, or my text out while we're on the podcast. But I can hear I can hear my son not getting ready for baseball. As bad as that sounds, right? So I want to thank everyone for showing up. I know that it's just me, myself, and I today. If you guys have any little nuggets you want to add to this on the recording, go ahead and add to it. I'm sure that you'll get some kind of response at some point. Um, and if you haven't already, I want you to like, subscribe, not like, share, whatever you want to do. It's okay by us. But we definitely appreciate you guys coming on every week. And thank you everyone for the comments today. It really helped out since I was flying solo. Everyone have a good day. Thanks again.